A little slower today, and we will pause to make sure that everybody's ready to go. For example, Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo, waiting on you. All right, so we're going to start by hitting a new file. And if you finished yesterday's assignment here, you have your millimeter template. So we'll go ahead and open that. If you haven't finished it, then you can just use your basic template and then copy and paste it into your new file. And then whenever I open up a template, we're going to start by doing a save as. And then this is our lecture, so we'll save it as our lecture. And it's called Mirror and Hatch is what we'll be learning today. So you'll notice as soon as you save it, on our title here, it's letting us know it's already punched in this text here for us, Mirror and Hatch, and even put today's date for us. So if you created your template correctly, a little time saver right there. Okay, so our first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to draw a triangle by hand. Doesn't have to be anything exact at all. I'm just going to make sure it's closed. So here's our triangle. And let's say we want to mirror this triangle right on the other side. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a mirror line. And I'm going to activate my ortho down here. So we all remember that. It'll be on the midterm exam, by the way. So we're clicking our ortho, which is giving me this line straight up and down. So I have a nice straight line there. And I'm going to punch in my mirror command. If you forget what the command is called, here's a symbol for it right here. We can see here's our mirror, and it even gives us an example of what the command can do. And in this class, we're going to be drawing a lot of objects that are symmetrical or have symmetry in them. And whenever you see that, that's your cue to use your mirror command, because that way it's literally half the work. So we've drawn our triangle once. I'm going to run my mirror command. Shortcut for mirror, I believe, is just MI. And then we need to let it know where we want our axis point basically to be. So where are we going to flip our triangles here? So we're just going to set this line that we drew here as our center line. So that's going to be our sort of line of symmetry. And now our two triangles here are symmetrical. All right, so I'm just looking. Everyone should have two lines. Draw a triangle. What you want to do is your line here is your axis line. So here. And then now, just put anywhere up and down on that line. Usually you click on the top and the bottom. So I'll demonstrate this one more time. Yeah. One public? Yeah. Okay. So we've got our triangle. And then I first demonstrated with a line. This time I'll demonstrate without a line. So I have my object selected that I want to mirror. I'm going to just click this time. I'll print on my mirror button here. And then I'm going to start by clicking. I'll click over here. And you'll notice if I take my ortho off, I can hit a different mirror line. So when you look, this doesn't really look symmetrical, but if you imagine the line that I've drawn as a center line, then you'll see they actually are perfectly symmetrical. And as I move this around again, it's creating perfect symmetry. So I'm going to hit my Shift button or I'll go back to my ortho here, just to give me a nice line straight up and down. And then it's asking me here, do I want to erase my source object? So do I just want to flip it over, or do I want to keep my original triangle, this triangle here? So I'm going to hit no, because I do not want to erase it. And there we go. Same thing, say I want to take these two triangles here, and I want to mirror them, and this time I want to mirror them beneath here, so I can just take my, I'll draw a mirror line. So I want to have these objects repeated underneath. So I'll hit my mirror again here. I'll select just anywhere on my two lines, hit enter, and now I have this replicated on the top and the bottom. So really quick and easy way whenever we have symmetrical objects to go through there. But just keep kind of following along here. All right, so any questions at all on mirror? Pretty straightforward command. Again, whenever you see any items that are symmetrical, really quick and easy way to draw without having to redraw everything twice. All right, so I'll keep, let me keep all those up. Okay, so now with your triangles here, we're now going to learn our next command, which is hatch. If any of you have played around with any art software, painting software like even Adobe Photoshop, there's typically a tool called the paint bucket tool, which just pours paint into objects to give them a solid color. In CAD, we have a similar tool for that called Hatch, H-A-T-C-H. Oops. Okay, so when you hit hatch, you'll get this new toolbar here at the top on your what they call ribbon. And it gives us a number of different options here. So we're going to click on solid. And then for our color here, we can click on colors here. So why don't we go with red? And then now we can hit this pick points here, and we can pick the areas that we want to fill with color. So I'm just going to click right in here, and you'll see it's now filled my triangle with color. So we're going to start getting into some more kind of artistic assignments, and our monthly competitions are always a great opportunity to use this hatch because it's a nice way to add some color. Okay, so we'll do this one more time here. I'll get out of here. I'm going to run my hatch. So H-A-T-C-H. And that brings up our hatch toolbar up the top here. And here's something else we'll do. So what I did first was I did solid colors, and you'll see here it says solid. We have some other options too. So the first one is gradient, which is pretty cool, and which this allows you to do is to pick two different colors. So we have my first color is blue, my second color is yellow, and then we have these different kind of patterns here. I can pull them all up here. So I'll start with this kind of simple fade here. Click on my triangle, and now I have a nice fade from blue to yellow. And here's different ones. Now, sometimes with our hatch tool, here I have a circle, and let's say I want to fill this entire circle with a gradient. I want to be like a red to yellow gradient. So I'm going to run my hatch command, and I'm going to select gradient, and I'm going to go from red here to, yeah, it looks kind of cool. And I'll go with kind of a sunrise kind of thing. And I go to plug in my hatch, but look what it's doing. It's only filling in this space here, and it's wrapping around everything. But I wanted to fill my entire circle here. So what we do there is we run our hatch command. And I'll do my gradient again. And we'll go from red to yellow. But this time, instead of picking points, which is the default, I'm going to pick this option here, which is select boundary object. So I'm going to click on that, and now I'm going to select just the edge of my circle here. And by doing that, it's going to fill in my entire circle. So again, the object, what I did there was I selected my boundary as opposed to selecting points, and that's then going to fill my entire circle with that gradient that I made.
What do you see there? It doesn't show.
That's weird. Click on your toolbar here. Just click on that. One more time. All right, and then one more thing you need to know about hatch. I'm just going to draw a rectangle over here. So sometimes we don't do solid colors or gradients. Sometimes we do patterns, and these patterns are very common in architecture. So say, for example, I was designing a house, and this was the front yard of the house, and I wanted to let everybody know that there was going to be grass planted in the front of the house, grass as opposed to pavement or brick or stone, something like that. So we're going to add a hatch for that. And what we're going to do is we're going to select a pattern. So our first option was solid, gradient, and now I'm going to do pattern. And if I click my expand arrow here, you can see we have a number of different patterns. And most of these patterns are actually sort of industry standardized things that all mean certain things. And so one of these is sort of a universal symbol for grass, which would be under G. Here it is right here. So these are all alphabetical, so I'm looking for the one that says grass. And I'm going to select, I'll do my object again. I'll select my entire object. So it's filled my object with, and I'll go green. Might as well have green grass here. Okay, and now I'm noticing here that my grass is kind of hard to see. It's pretty, I can see it there, but it's pretty small. So we want to adjust our scale so we can actually see all the little symbols here. So we adjust our scale with this section right here. You can see it says hatch pattern scale. So instead of 1, I like to go in sort of exponents here. So I'll try from 1 to 10. And I'm just going to hit tab to go to another field. It looks pretty good, but that's a little too big. Why don't we bring it down to maybe 7. If your computer crashed, which is extremely easy to do in the hatch command, if you click somewhere and your object isn't closed, then you'll make CAD very angry. You don't want to make CAD angry. So again, if your object is either too big or too small, you'll just go in and adjust your hatch scale. So go up and down. Now I'm going with our millimeter template that we created yesterday. So if you recall, that was a much larger template. So I'm going to have to scale up. If you're using your basic template, you might have to scale down. So you can just use these little arrow keys to make subtle adjustments up and down. And just get it to where you have it to where you can see the symbol. It just looks aesthetically pleasing to you. So click on it. And then right out the bottom. That's your hatch scale. Whatever you feel is appropriate. So probably want to go up quite a bit. I did 7, but you might have to do more than that. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of what you don't want to do. So let's say I say draw a triangle. You go and draw your triangle, and you think it's snapped. I'll turn off my O-snap here. Like that. So here I have a triangle. This triangle looks good. I want to fill my triangle with a solid color. So I'm going to hit hatch. I'm going up here to solid. And the color that I'm going to pick is yellow. And then I'm going to hit my pick points here. And I'm going to pick inside here. And uh-oh. CAD angry. So it says here, a closed boundary cannot be determined. So remember how he said that this is like pouring paint into a container? If your container has a hole in it, all that paint's going to leak out. CAD doesn't like that. And sure enough, it's giving me a little red circle here that's sort of indicating where my break might be. And sure enough, when I zoom in, I can see that yes, in fact, this shape is not a closed shape, and all of my paint is leaking out. So to fix that, I can move it. I can turn on my object snapping, which I should have had on in the first place, and maybe I'm just going to build a little dam right there. And that will now keep my paint from spilling out. Run my hatch command again. And we're going to go with another color here for solid, and I'll click in there. And now it works perfectly.